More grade one action on Saturday afternoon at Woodbine. We have the Natalma that goes as race number 10, 6:10 Eastern time at a mile on the turf. This one for the Fillies. We also featured the summer on the program and another mile, the Woodbine mile as well. Be sure to take a look at all of those video previews. Nick Tammaro here, joined by Darin Zoccali, to take a look at this Johnny Walker Natalma, where he and I are going to talk about a runner that was pretty impressive on debut.
Yeah, I had a bit of a wise guy play in the summer stakes if you followed along with the horse that I circled coming off the debut. And here's another horse that I circled off the debut. And we're talking about the Grand Motion trainee, G. Laurie. When she won at Colonial, and Nick, I know you pay very close attention to that meet, I instantly went to Twitter and said, who wants to give me odds on this horse in the juvenile filly turf? I know the race doesn't come back with an enormous speed figure. I get that the race wasn't very fast, but it was a 2-year-old filly debuting at a mile and a 16th. And if you go back and watch the replay, passing the eye test doesn't do this filly justice. She made an incredible move where she just gobbled up ground, seemingly without being asked, drew clear, like she had been doing this for 3 years on the racetrack. There's a ton of talent, a world of upside. And I don't think she's catching the strongest group here. It's an interesting spot for her to go to the Natalma here. Just a lot of different angles point to her. I think she's going to be the real deal long term, and I like her quite a bit in the spot.
Yeah, half to stakes caliber turf sprinter, Sandpiper Memories. And I think the good thing is the top side features that distance with Oscar Performance, who of course won the 2018 Woodbine mile around these parts. G. Laurie was very impressive in that debut victory. She does spot a bit of experience to some of her rivals, including the one Cairo Consort, who not only broke her maiden 2 starts back in her second turf start, but came right back and won the Catch a Glimpse and looks like in many ways the horse to beat.
Yeah, and I totally admit that I admire the fact that she won a race virtually wire to wire, and then she came from off the pace after breaking a bit outward. So for a 2-year-old to show that kind of versatility, being able to win 2 races, including a stake in 2 different fashion, I do think is a huge plus in her column. I love Cairo Prince in terms of producing turf fillies. I think that one of the best angles in racing is when you get a Cairo Prince, whether it be a filly or colt, but especially a filly going to the turf. This filly has certainly responded to that move. Her last 2 races are definitely worthy of making her a favorite in here. And I would admit, despite my selection of G. Laurie, this is the horse we have to beat.
It looks in many ways that way. I do think there could be some value to be had on a horse that was a disappointment in the Catch a Glimpse. That's Wickenheiser, who was bet down to favoritism in that affair. I don't want to hold a second career start against a horse that might have just caught lightning in a bottle on debut, but now gets a little bit more ground and probably is a filly that's going to relish every bit of it, going the mile off that 6.5 furlong try. Did she kind of just maybe get caught in no man's land back there a little too far off the pace?
I think so. And I was actually also surprised that they ran her next time out at 6.5. I mean, she's by Lemon Drop Kid out of a Monjou mare. You can't get more classic pedigree than that in terms of wanting more ground. She gets the mile here. I think the longer the race is going to get, the better for her. She stretches out here. I just think she was caught in a tough spot last time out. She was in a 12-horse field, gotten some tight spots there, and was only able to beat half the field to the wire. I expect an improved effort here if she could work out a better trip, and the stretch out's definitely going to help her.
I think having a little bit of seasoning will go a long way as well. One door to the inside of her is Adora from Mark Cassie, who he actually brought to Saratoga for the opening day Schuylerville and then sent back to Canada for the Catch a Glimpse. She finished a good second that day. Looks like another filly who probably won't be hurt by a little bit more ground, maybe more so because of running style and pedigree.
Yeah, and I think she actually got caught with a really wide trip coming off the turn in that particular race, and I think that could have hurt her a little bit. She did close willingly, though, and I thought was moving nicely at the wire. Took a bit of an interesting path here. She's run 3 times, 3 different surfaces. She is stretching out for the first time by Into Mischief out of a Spikestown mare. So you could argue that maybe you have a little bit of sprintiness to that pedigree, so the stretch out could be a bit of a question. And I always am a little bit careful with sprint-like pedigrees when horses that are late-running closers. It doesn't always transition when you stretch out to a mile and beyond, but her last race was certainly good enough to land her on the exotics contender list.
Yeah, that stamina test in the final furlong and a half of the elongated stretch of the EP Taylor turf course can get pretty strenuous. G. Laurie is where both Darin and I landed. Grand Motion 5 for 15 with second time starters off of maiden wins on the turf, including 4 of his last 6. One of those was eventual grade 1 winner Spenderella. We are both looking forward to seeing G. Laurie test these deeper waters.
Very much so. I'm hoping she runs big so I can bet her again come Breeders' Cup at Lexington.
There's got to be somebody out there who write you a future wager on this, but it's going to have to be before 6:10 Eastern on Saturday night.
Yeah, I would agree. I wouldn't want to cop out too bad. Anybody wants to get it out to me before 6 o'clock on Saturday, I'm happy to put the bet in and take her. I would say somewhere around 10 to 1. I think is fair right now.
Well, depending on how it goes, I might contact you after 6:10 and offer you a wager as well. That's a look at the Natalma on Saturday afternoon at Woodbine, the third of 3 winning you're in Grade 1 races run over the EP Taylor Turf Course. Darin, thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, man. Enjoy.
And that is it for us. TwinSpires.com. Play along. Hope you've enjoyed these video previews. We will be back at it very soon. For Darin Zoccali, Nick Tammaro here. Until next time, best of luck.